So I would say definitely try to make a way out of no way. Don't think of it as, oh, it's just an extra role. Look at it like, who can I network with
I love
and network up and build from there organically.
Alrighty, what's up, you guys? It's your girl Bianca B, and welcome back to the Bianca B Show. I am super excited to have this guest on today, Amadi Ugonna. Shout out to my boy. He's been in the industry for a couple of years now. He's been over 25 different types of shows, from B.M.F, TMZ, Hollywood Unlocked. He has been an influence to, the community and the culture. And so I'm super excited to have him on today. How are you?
Good. How are you, beautiful?
Good. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know life happens. We're like trying to get it.
I know, right? So I was watching B.M.F and I was like, is that him? Because you didn't really post. You didn't really like share it until it came out, the trailer. So kind of walk me through that experience. How was that for you?
Yeah. So honestly, it was a great experience. Obviously, I was nervous because like it was my first role in such a long time, and then they were very supportive though. Like they're like, you went to acting school, right? I'm like, yeah, I did. They were just a great pleasure to work with. With alongside the main character, Lil Meech. So he was
Yes.
super cool, and we did a lot of rehearsals. And they're like, let's get it. It was a long shoot, but it was fun and it came out perfect. So I'm really glad.
That's awesome. And on this podcast, we talk about business, finances, and friendships. And I really like to tackle those three things because I feel like it's super important in this industry. So, as far as the business side, how was that experience with the producers and casters and the whole entire cast? Like, how was that experience from the producing side and the casting side, from like a business standpoint? What did you learn from that experience?
So it's funny because I love this question because I was more self-taught. I studied a lot, especially like I had like Marianne Hewitt to look up to, among other influencers. But like I had to study because no one was teaching me anything. I didn't know, even with the industry now, like the agents, it's cool, but it's still like you really got to know your own stuff. Like they come with their rates and etc. But as far as that goes, I really self-taught myself. I like to joke, I went to YouTube University. So that's when I was like, okay, because I just remember reading the article one day in college, and it's like, you got to know the business because a lot of people, I'm here for the long run. I really enjoy the industry. I don't like the political side, obviously, when it gets hard, but I just like the creative and the meeting new people and different fun facts like that. So I would just say definitely like study the business, read a lot of books, and pick brains because not everyone is going to be selfish. You never know. You might get a good network support system. Find that. That's so key.
Mhm.
Not everyone is like, I'm too Hollywood. Because I'm never like that. I feel like anyone, even if you're Beyonce, you have to learn still, like, because you can never stop learning, and that's life.
Absolutely. And so going back to the business side of things, you say you look up to people like Mariana Hewitt. She's amazing. She has like done it all. So as far as the business, like, do you feel like you can literally do it all? Like, are you one of those people that feel like you can tap into every type of industry? Because I personally feel that way. I feel like you shouldn't box yourself in. But what about you?
Absolutely, because one, I have many different creatives and passions. I love the acting, I love the influencing, I love the Instagram, I love the modeling, I love everything. Mariana Hewitt was like one of the first industry people that I ever known, and that was just through social media, which is such a crazy thing to say because I that was how we met.
Yeah.
So, and I was like just in college, and I was just so inspired by her journey, and I'm like, who is this girl? How she end up on TMZ with Michael Strahan? And just seeing how successful she becomes, she just got bigger every year. And that's what motivated me because when you know someone who is so successful, it kind
Mhm.
of is like your network determines your net worth, as they say. You get motivated and inspired. You're like, yeah, let me go try and be like that, even though you were already pursuing it. But it's like, okay, it's realistic now, it's attainable, just figure it out. So that's how I looked at it.
That's awesome. And you've done a lot of stuff with TMZ. You know, I was an intern for TMZ, and the environment is like so hectic. It talks a lot about pop culture. Best experience I ever had. Why do you think that they keep bringing you back? Because they don't bring everybody back. Let's just start there. So what have you learned from like appearing on TMZ and like always reoccurring and sharing your thoughts on certain topics?
You know what? That's funny because honestly, like I said, especially with no when seeing Mariana on there, I've always wanted to do a pop culture show. I just didn't know what I really E News was my go-to, but like I was open, obviously. But once I figured out how to get on there, I was just like, wow, it went by so fast, I couldn't even believe it. You know, for it's been 7 years now, and I'm like still mind blown because I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, I'm just always on the grind. You know, you just get so lost in trying to get to where you want to be. And
Exactly.
then it's just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, okay, so as far as why they keep bringing me back, I would say I have a good opinion. And I would say that a lot of viewers do resonate with me because it's crazy. Because after doing so many other things, everyone's like, you were on TMZ, you were
Yeah.
on TMZ. It's like the number one thing I can't get away from. So it's like my DNA at this point.
And you find these jobs by looking online, or do you have a manager? How do you go about finding these gigs and work?
Yeah, so the very, very beginning was all me. You know, we started from the bottom,
Okay.
literally. When my mom, she likes to claim she's a momager, but I'm like, girl, you basically took me to the audition. But no, she gets her credits too. But I'm definitely the business savvy one because I'm hungry. Like I love this business. Like, you know, again, like that's all I knew. I didn't have a lot of connections and friends growing up, and this is all I knew how to be creative in myself. It was like crazy because I was so shy. But once I found entertainment, it was like blossom. And how I got my opportunities, I research. And then, you know, you find an agent, you still have to do your own thing even though you have an agent, so it's still like a balance because
Right.
you know they may not see everything or think you're good for every role and blah blah blah, but with me, I know my brand, I know me, everything I've got, I've done it, you know, whether it's the connections with Black China, which I don't like to name drop, but it's just the most recent that can come up to my name or whatever, but just any connection that I have with me, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? So it's like that's how I look at it.
that's awesome. So you're all about building and putting yourself out there, which I think is so important. And a lot of people fear that, putting themselves out there and, you know, going after those opportunities. And you're still in Detroit, correct?
I am in
And that's
Detroit.
and that's amazing because most people feel like they have to move to LA or New York or Atlanta to find these jobs. And that's a great thing that you're doing. Have you thought about moving away, or do you feel like I am here and I can build within Michigan?
So here's the thing. I actually am me, and I don't know if you are aware of Love Brittany. She's
Yeah,
from Love and Hip Hop. She's from Detroit.
I know.
So it's crazy because I went back and forth, moved to LA, I mean, and then or stay in Detroit. But when I realized her journey, and she literally went to LA for several years back and forth, and she made her way out of no way. And I look at Eminem as the same prime example. It's like you really, yeah, it helps because you can live like that life every single day versus here you're meeting more like an engineer or a doctor, someone who isn't industry related.
Right.
But from her journey itself, that's where the inspiration for me, because like she got on Love and Hip Hop from Detroit. She had the same connections I had as far as like knowing someone super big and then they put them on or just knowing of you. And social media is a powerful tool. So you, like Mariana actually said, you don't need to move anywhere to build. But for actors, I would say eventually LA definitely has to be the move for the long run. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going into the financial part of the industry, you know, there's ups and downs. You're booked and not booked. What have you learned financially about this business? And advice you would give to, you know, beginner actors?
Yes. So I would say, like let Brittany would say, always bet on yourself. You know, I would rather bet on me because it's funny because you have, it's really like a business. Think of it like a business. Um, when you want to, like, for example, we go out to eat a lot. Everything is expensive. Inflation, I don't care if you live in Michigan, New York. I feel like everything is the same now. It's crazy.
Mhm.
So I look at it as, if you can spend 100 on dinner, you can spend 100 on a photo shoot, you can spend 100 on the acting class, you can spend 100 on whatever. Tell your friends no. They don't need to go out every week. First of all, I have a lot of successful friends, and they be trying to pull me, and I will shy back sometimes. So I'm like, look, I have a business to run. It's up and down, because we're still, it's just entertainment in general. So it's like your budget is always tied into something, and they don't understand it because they're not in the industry. They may run a business or whatever, but literally, that's what I would say. Just make sure you bet on yourself.
I love that. That's a great tip because, we feel like we need to be outside all the time, but you could take that money and literally put it into your business. Sometimes you have to have those sacrifices. So I definitely agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And so going into the friendship part of things, you are really good friends with Lee Daniels and his family. Kind of talk about how that relationship builds and how you were able to meet Lee Daniels.
So again, social media, it's crazy because I can't pinpoint how people be knowing me. And then it's like I've done a lot, but then it's still Instagram is a big platform for me. Even though have a smaller following, I would say, but it's like the people who watch you are more important than who is actually following you. So it's like Lee really came about because I was an extra on Empire at one point, and I was in college. I was hungry. My mom would just be like, we got to go to Chicago. We got to go to Chicago. Like, she loved the show and I did too. And I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. All I know was I was trying to make a way out of no way. So, as being an extra, yeah, you're not, obviously, if you've been an extra in the business, you may not be talking to the director. They don't have no need, or the actor, the main cast. So, I utilized my tour by, because I was on there, and if I was seen, I would actually post myself and then share it with him. And he actually reposted me, and then he was actually like kind of following my journey, like even before then. But then he actually posted me, and it's funny because I know the director on Empire, her fiance, I mean, and he's like, I saw Lee post you, and I'm like, yeah, 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 like, isn't that crazy? So I would say definitely try to make a way out of no way. Don't think of it as, oh, it's just an extra role. Look at it like, who can I network with
I love
and network up and build from there organically.
it. And what they say about Detroit people, we look bougie, right? So sometimes our ego can kind of get in the way a little bit of certain opportunities. Did you ever feel that way? Because you really, this whole podcast, you talked about relationship building, relationship building. Have you ever felt like there was a stigma about you and you had to like reintroduce yourself, or, people have this prejudgment of you before actually meeting you?
You know what they do? And it's not a bad one. It's more when people see me in person, they're like, "Are you a model? Are you?" That's really the main thing. You're a model or TMZ. As far as character, I'm so real on Instagram. I will tell you my ups and downs. So I think they kind of already understand me before they meet me too, because I will post about anything. Oh, that audition, I wanted it so bad, or whatever. Like, I will just talk freely, but not in a negative way. Just be real, And I think that's where people really, my audience, connects really well with that. And that's just me. I just know be myself. I don't know how to be anybody else.
I know.
And you take it or you leave it. So here we are with that.
And so going to, you just said, I talk about this a lot, but rejection. You go through that a lot, especially with actors. I noticed that being on the booking side and booking people, there's so many different personalities and there's so many no's, and sometimes it's not you, it's production. What was the hardest rejection you had to take within your career? What was something you really want that you didn't get, but you're still determined to get it if the opportunity is still out there?
So, oh my gosh, it was more so in the beginning because I understand the business now. Like, once you start, I was literally like just sad, I would cry because I would, when things didn't work out, I really wanted to be on America's Next Top Model, and I was just like, I want to be on there so bad. And when I just couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it on there, it was crazy because the shows you think, oh my gosh, like, you want it so bad, they will turn around and you look, oh, they didn't watch the audition tape. It has 0 views still. Or they went a different direction. They chose all girls. That was my case for America's Top Model. They actually reached out to me, and I was so excited. I did my recording that day. I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I found out they went with all women that season instead of just doing boys and girls. So it wasn't even me. So it was definitely more heartbreaking in the beginning. But as I've grown into definitely a tougher person and a thick skin, I should say, I handle rejection more like, okay, it's gonna be something. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I even know producers and booking producers, executive producers, and Zeus Network, and all of these guys, and I get it. Like, it's a timing still in a business perspective. So you gotta fit in where you fit in, basically.
And what are 3 tips you would give to upcoming actors out there?
3 tips I would give to upcoming actors. I would say be determined, study the craft, and enjoy the journey. Because I know that was the hardest one for me. Enjoy the journey. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I need money now. Like,
okay.
literally. But it's true because you can't control when I even saw a recent interview with Soraya. She was from Empire. She's like, she gets so many no's, even though she was on Empire, even till this day. And she's like, you just have to control what you can control. And I feel like that's really the case, the truth. So that's what I would give my advice.
That's awesome. And what is your dream role? What is your dream role? What is something that you want to really, truly accomplish in the next couple of years?
My dream role, I definitely looking in towards reality television, because I want to be free. I don't want to be limited to a script. And I want to get out that messy side of, I'm not messy, but I want to like embody it and be fun, messy, and get that out of my system and then go back to acting. Not that I would quit it, but that along with I've always wanted to play James Bond.
I love that.
So yeah, I love the cars, the outfits, the jewelry, the sex appeal he has. So that's my dream role. I'm too young for that role now. I think they do like maybe 40 and up, but that's that's keep a lookout for that. So we'll see.
And so where can people follow you?
So yeah, people can follow me across. Really, Instagram is my main one for now, which is at AMADI __, and that's on Instagram, and that's really all I use.
Yes, I love that. And I want to say thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Make sure you guys follow him on Instagram. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at Bianca B Show. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. It's your girl Bianca B. Love you guys. Bye. Bianca B, Bianca B, Bianca B, Bianca B, Bianca B, Bianca B, Bianca B.